Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the definitive, step-by-step learning plan for DevOps beginners. But honestly, more importantly than that, we're going to expose 8 massive mistakes that are literally costing learners years of wasted time. If you've ever felt like you're just stuck in tutorial hell, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it.
So, are you burning years of time and thousands of dollars learning DevOps the wrong way? Most people trying to master cloud infrastructure hit this massive, overwhelming wall. It's a wall made up of too many tools, scattered tutorials, and a total lack of real-world context. And the stakes? They're incredibly high. Learning inefficiently isn't just frustrating, it comes with a huge hidden price tag. But today's the day we turn those common failures into a proven, step-by-step success playbook. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the DevOps blueprint. Second, concepts over shiny tools. Third, connect dots with projects. Fourth, ditch the safe sandbox. And finally, build and share publicly. Okay, let's jump straight into section 1, the DevOps blueprint, and structuring your path to success.
To actually master DevOps without getting completely lost in the weeds, you need a solid 4-pillar strategy. We're talking master concepts, build connected projects, learn on real infrastructure, and share your work in public. We're going to break down each of these pillars, but first, we need to talk about why skipping this structured blueprint is such a dangerous mistake. You know, we often think that cobbling together free tutorials is, well, saving us money. But here's the reality check. Wasting a year watching fragmented videos without a real plan carries a massive opportunity cost. We're talking up to $35,000 in lost potential income. Seriously, an engineer who actually knows DevOps is vastly more valuable in the job market. So delaying those skills just because you're piecing together free content with huge knowledge gaps, that is incredibly expensive. And a lot of that wasted time comes straight from roadmap fatigue. You look at a DevOps roadmap, see 100 different technologies, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, Jenkins, and you just panic. It's a huge mistake to think you need to be an absolute expert in all of them. To avoid this, just remember the 80-20 rule. You really only need to understand the essential 20% of a tool to cover 80% of real-world use cases. You absolutely do not need to memorize every single command. Moving on to section 2, concepts over shiny tools. Let's see why fundamentals outlast frameworks. The crucial point here is that tools change at lightning speed. But core concepts? Those stay forever. I mean, every month there's a new tool, and every week someone on LinkedIn is hyping up the next shiny thing. But if you make the mistake of only memorizing, say, Jenkins syntax, what happens when you join a company that uses GitLab CI or GitHub Actions? You panic, right? But if you understand the core concepts, what a pipeline actually is, how stages and jobs work, how artifacts flow securely, you can pick up any new tool in a matter of days. This is exactly why concept-first learning is so vital. People are constantly stressing, oh, I learned AWS, but my new job uses Azure. Do I need to start completely over? The answer is a hard no. Once you adopt concept-first learning, pivoting from one platform to another is a breeze, because compute is compute, storage is storage, and networking is networking, regardless of the brand name slapped on it. Honestly, the buttons just have different names. And hey, making the mistake of relying solely on certifications instead of those concepts is another massive trap. Listen to this quote from Israel, a bootcamp graduate. Certification is not going to get you past the door. Your certification is more or less useless if you don't have the skills. Israel passed his Kubernetes administrator exam on the first try, but still couldn't get hired initially. Why? Because companies don't care about a multiple choice test if you can't have a real technical conversation about troubleshooting and architecture. Certifications validate knowledge. They definitely do not replace hands-on skills. All right, section 3. Connect dots with projects. It is time to stop learning in isolation. You hear this complaint all the time. I know Docker, I know Kubernetes, I know Jenkins, but I'm just not getting job offers. Well, usually it's because they made the fatal mistake of learning these tools in total isolation. Learning them separately is literally like having baking ingredients, but absolutely no recipe. You've got the flour, the eggs, the sugar, but you can't bake a cake. Companies don't just want ingredient hoarders. They need engineers who can actually connect the dots between these technologies. So whatever you do, don't make the mistake of waiting until you feel ready to start building, because spoiler alert, you will never feel ready. Start early. Build an end-to-end project that actually integrates these tools to solve a real workflow. Pull the code from a Git repo, build the Docker image, push it to a registry, and deploy it to Kubernetes using Terraform. As you learn a new tool, plug it into a single ongoing project. This forces you to understand that critical connective tissue between your code, containers, registries, and infrastructure. Let's head into Section 4. Ditch the safe sandbox and embrace real infrastructure. Ask yourself this: would you rather troubleshoot for the very first time during a tutorial or during your first week on the job? That question gets right to the heart of the matter. Sandbox environments kind of babysit you, right? You paste a pre-written command into a browser terminal, it works flawlessly, and boom, you get confetti and a green checkmark. But out there in the real world, things break constantly. There's no pre-written command to copy-paste when your deployment completely fails. You've got to know how to respond to actual messy errors. It's time to graduate from the kiddie pool of pre-configured courses and dive headfirst into the ocean of real infrastructure. Setting up your own environments, fighting with package managers, configuring Git properly. These aren't just nice-to-haves, they're fundamental expectations. If you make the mistake of only ever learning in sandboxes, I guarantee you'll feel like an absolute imposter on day one when you have to configure a real dev environment completely from scratch. Facing actual challenges and nasty error logs during your learning phase gives you those authentic troubleshooting stories you desperately need for job interviews. Trust me, hiring managers can spot a sandbox learner in about 5 minutes flat because they can't explain why a system failed or how they investigated it. Real DevOps is not about what works, it's about fixing things that don't. Embrace the broken things, guys. That is where the real learning actually happens. And finally, Section 5, build and share publicly, how to turn your skills into real opportunities. Consider this real case study from our sources. There was a sysadmin who automated his company's backup processes and slashed deployment times by 70%. Amazing work, right? But because he was a silent achiever, literally nobody outside his immediate team had a clue. It wasn't until he translated that technical project work into valuable LinkedIn updates, stepping up as a public builder, that Fortune 500 recruiters and VP-level executives started knocking on his door. Being a silent achiever is a massive mistake if you want any sort of career mobility. Now, you don't have to be a full-time content creator or some tech guru to do this. Just take your gritty, real infrastructure project work and turn it into specific, valuable updates. Did you just spend 3 grueling hours debugging a Terraform module? Write a post about the error and how you fixed it. Did you design a CI/CD pipeline? Share a simple diagram and explain why you chose those specific tools. It's really that simple. I know some of you might hate self-promotion, you feel like it's just showing off, but I want you to completely reframe it in your mind. You are not bragging. Your basic foundational knowledge is absolute gold for someone who is currently struggling with the exact same problem you just solved yesterday. By building in public, you're not just creating a searchable portfolio of your competence, you are actively helping the broader engineering community. So by embracing this structured playbook, focusing on concepts, connecting the dots through real projects on actual infrastructure, and bravely building in public, you're going to avoid these 8 major pitfalls and end up light years ahead of everyone else who's still stuck in tutorial hell. Look at your own learning path right now. Which of these 8 costly mistakes will you stop making today to fast-track your DevOps career? What specific step will you take right now to stop learning in circles and start engineering your future? Let that question guide your next move. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and keep building.